Imagine this, your approval workflow has been running perfectly for months. Then one morning, the operation head asked, why has production stopped because of low inventory? You open the flow, the purchase request was submitted, the approval was sent, but the approval manager was on leave. Nobody followed up, there was no reminder, no escalation. Because of one stuck approval, the purchase order was not released, raw materials were not ordered, production stopped, and now operations, procurement, finance, and IT all are looking for answers. This is not a Power Automate problem, it's a design problem. So, in this video, I'll share the 9 most commonly and cost approval design mistakes, and more importantly, how you can avoid them before they become production issues. And stay with me until the end because mistake number 9 is one that silently works today but becomes the biggest maintenance your solution grows. Let's get started. Mistake 1, choosing the wrong approval types. You picked the wrong approval types. Maybe you used everyone must approve when only one manager needed to sign off. Or you used first to respond when every stakeholder was supposed to approve. The flow worked exactly as designed. Business process did not. So why it's costly? Let's take a simple example. A leave request only takes approval from manager, but the flow is configured. Everyone must approve. Now HR gets the request, finance gets the request, everyone is waiting for the approval that were never required. Now imagine the opposite. A purchase request needs an approval from HR, finance and IT, but the flow uses first to respond. HR clicks approve and the request moves forward without finance or IT ever reviewing it. That's not a Power Automate issue, it's the wrong approval design. So before you build the flow, ask one simple question. Is this a single authority decision or does everyone needs to approve? If one approval is enough, use first to respond. If everyone must approve, use everyone must approve. Let the business process decide the approval types, not your last project. Now let's look at the another mistake that's very common. Hard-coded approvers. Hard-coding approvers email address directly in your flow. It might seem convenient while you are building the solution, but approval workflow should not depend on specific people. They should depend on roles or business rules. Let's take a simple example. Your leave approval flow always send request to john@company.com because John was the HR manager when the flow was built. A few months later, John leaves the company, a new HR manager joins, but the flow is still sending approvals to John's account. Now, employees submit leave request and nobody approves them. The business think the approval process is broken. In reality, only the approvals changed. Now imagine you have 10 different approval flows. You have to open, update, test, and republish every single one. That's a maintenance problem you could have avoided. Never hardcode approvers unless they are guaranteed to never change. Instead, retrieve approvers dynamically, store approvers in SharePoint, Dataverse, or environment variables for business roles. That way, when people changes, you update the data, not the flow. Rule of thumb is configure approvers, don't hardcode them. Third mistake is no timeout strategy. Your approval flow has no timeout strategy. It sends the approval request and waits forever. No reminders, no escalations, no fallback plan. Let's take a simple example. An invoice is waiting for an approval before finance can release the payment. The finance manager goes on a leave for 1 week. The approval stays in the inbox. Nobody notices. The payment deadline passes. Now the vendor starts changing the account team for payment. Late payment charges may even apply. So the flow did not fail. It was simply waiting for an approval that was never going to come. So every approval should have a timeout strategy. Decide what should happen if no one responds. Should the flow send a reminder after 2 days? Should it escalate to manager supervisor? Or should it automatically cancel the request after a defined period? So the rule of thumb is every approval needs an exit strategy. Next mistake is forgetting rejection handling. So many approval flows are designed for one outcome, approval, but they don't handle what happens when the request is rejected. Let's take a simple example. An employee submits an expense claim for reimbursement. The manager reviews it and clicks reject because the required receipts are missing. The flow ends. The employee is not notified. Accounts don't know why the claim was rejected. A few days later, employees emails HR asking, what is the status of my reimbursement? Now HR has to investigate. Manager has to explain the rejection again. Now the employee has to submit the request from scratch, all because the rejection path was never designed. So the fix is, when the request is rejected, notify the requester, capture the rejection reason, update the request status, and clearly communicate the next steps. A rejected request should end with clarity, not with confusion. So the rule of thumb is, design for both outcomes, approve and reject. Next mistake is no approval history. Your approval flow completes successfully, but it does not store who approved the request, when it was approved, and why they approved. So once approval is complete, the information is lost. Let's take a simple example. A vendor is approved and start doing business with the company. 3 months later, during an internal audit, the compliance team asks who approved the vendor, when was it approved, and was there any justification or any comments. Nobody knows, because the approval email is gone, the approval record was never stored. Now the IT team has to dig through old flows, hoping to find some information. So what should have taken a few seconds turned into the hours of investigation. So the fix is, every approval should leave an audit trail. So store important details like who approved the request, when it was approved, the approval outcomes, and any comments provided by the approver. So that information should be easy to retrieve without opening Power Automate. The rule of thumb is, if it is not recorded, it didn't happen. Next mistake is no escalation strategy. Your approval flow depends on a single approver. If that person is unavailable, the approval simply stops here. There is no backup approver, no escalation, no way for the business process to continue. So let's take a simple example. A new employee is joining on Monday. Before IT can prepare the laptop and email account, the onboarding request needs approval from the hiring manager. But the hiring manager is attending a week-long conference. The approval stays pending and IT can't order the laptop. The employee joins the first day without a laptop, without system access, and without an email account. Not because Power Automate failed, but because there was no escalation strategy when the approvers was not available. So the fix is, think beyond the primary approver. If an approval is not completed within the expected time, decide what should happen next. Should it go to the manager supervisor? Should it reassign to a backup approver? Or should an administrator be notified to take an action? The business process should not stop because one person is unavailable. The rule of thumb is, every approver needs a backup plan. Next mistake is poor approval communication. Your approval notification lack context. They are missing key business details. So even when approval leave comments, those comments never reach the people who need them. Let's take a simple example. A contract approval request lands in the legal team inbox. The email simply says, please approve the request. No contract amount, no requester, no due date, no supporting documents. The lawyer has opened the Power Apps to just understand what they are approving. Later the request is rejected with a comment explaining why. But the requester never receives the comment. So a few days later, the same request is submitted again, exactly the same mistake. All because the approval communication was incomplete. So the fix is, give approvers the context they need to make a decision, include key business details directly in the approver's email, and an approver leaves comment, make sure those comments are stored and shared with the requester. Good communication reduces delays, confusion, and unnecessary follow-ups. The rule of thumb is, a good approval is not just about decision, it's about clear communication. Next mistake is mixing business logic with approval logic. Your approval flow does not just handle approvals, it also contains business calculations, data updates, and other business logic. Everything is built in one large flow. So why it's costly? Let's take a simple example. You build a purchase approval workflow. Along with the approval, the same flow calculates amount, updates inventory, calculates the PO, creates the purchase order, sends notification, updates SharePoint, and call an ERP system. Everything works until the business changes the approval process. Now a small approval change means testing the entire flow. A single notification can accidentally break inventory updates, notifications, or an ERP integrations. So the approval was not the problem, the flow was doing too many jobs. So the fix is, keep your approval logic focused on approvals, move business logic into separate child flows. That way, approval change don't affect unrelated business processes. Smaller flows are easier to test, maintain, and reuse. Rule of thumb is, approval decides, business logic executes, so keep them separate. The last mistake is separate approval flows for every process. So every time a new approval process comes along, you create different approval flow for leave approvals, purchase approvals, travel approvals, expense approvals, vendor approval. Each one has its own approval logic. So why it's a problem? Let's take a simple example. Suppose your organization have 5 different approval workflows. So one day a business decides that every approval should include a reminder after 2 days, escalation after 5 days, approval history for auditing. Sounds simple, right? But because every flow has its own approval logic, now you need to update, test and deploy 5 different flows. Next month, another approval process is introduced. You copy an existing flow, make a few changes. Now you have 6 approval flows to maintain. The more approval flow you have, the harder they become to maintain. So the fix is, instead of rebuilding the same approval logic every time, build it once and create a reusable approval engine or child flow for common approval functionality. If different business processes need different reminder schedules, escalations, and approvers, make them configurable instead of hard coding them into a separate flows. That way, every business process can have its own behavior without duplicating the approval logic. The rule of thumb is build once, configure many. So we have covered 9 costly approval mistakes, from choosing the wrong approval type to building a reusable approval engine. So avoid these mistakes and your approval solution will be much easier to support as your organization grows. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you are serious about building production ready approval workflows, make sure you watch my complete Power Automate Approval Masterclass. In that video, I build a complete approval solution from scratch and explain every step in detail. I'll leave the link in the description at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning, keep growing.